By this intelligence we learn the Welshmen are dispersed, and Salisbury's gone to meet the king, who lately landed with some few private friends upon this coast.
Well, the news is both fair and good, my lord. Richard, not far from hence, hath hid his head.
It would beseem the Lord Northumberland to say King Richard. Alack the day that such a sacred king should hide his head.
Your grace mistakes. Only to be brief left I his title out.
The time hath been, had you been so brief with him, he would have been so brief with you. To shorten you for taking so the head, your whole head's length.
Mistake not, uncle, further than you should.
Take not, cousin, further than you should, lest you mistake the heavens are o'er our heads.
I know it, uncle, and oppose not myself against their will. But who comes here? Welcome, Harry. What, will not this castle yield?
The castle is royally manned, my lord, against thy entrance.
Royally? Why, it contains no king.
Yes, it doth contain a king. King Richard lies within the limits of yon lime and stone, and with him are Lord O'Merle, Lord Salisbury, Sir Stephen Scroop, besides a clergyman of holy reverence who I cannot learn. Be like me, 'tis the Bishop of Carlisle.
Noble lords, go to the rude ribs of that ancient castle. Through brazen trumpets, send the breath of Harley into his ruined ears, and thus deliver. Henry Bolingbroke, on both his knees, doth kiss King Richard's hand, and sends allegiance and true faith of heart to his most royal person. Hither come, even at his knees, to lay my arms and power. Provided, my banishment repealed and lands restored again, be freely granted. If not, I'll use the advantage of my power and lay the summer's dust with showers of blood. Go, signify as much, while here we march upon the grassy carpet of this plain. Methinks King Richard and myself should meet with no less terror than the elements of fire and water. Be he the fire, I'll be the yielding water. The rage be his, whilst on the earth I rain my waters. On the earth, and not on him. March on, and mark King Richard how he looks. See, King Richard doth himself appear, as doth the blushing, discontented sun from out the fiery portal of the east.
And yet he looks like a king. Behold his eye, as bright as is the eagle's, lightens forth controlling majesty. Alack, alack for woe, that any harm should stain so fair a show.
We are amazed, and thus long have we stood to watch the fearful bending of thy knee, because we thought ourselves thy lawful king. And if we be, how dare thy joints forget their awful duty to our presence? If we be not, show us the hand of God which hath dismissed us from our stewardship. For well we know, no hand of blood and bone can gripe the sacred handle of our scepter, unless he do profane, steal, or usurp. Tell Bolingbroke, for yond methinks he stands, that every stride he makes upon my land is dangerous treason. He is come to open the purple testament of bleeding war, but ere the crown he looked for live in peace. 10,000 bloody crowns of mothers' sons shall ill become the flower of England's face, change the complexion of her maid pale peace to scarlet indignation, and bedew her faithful pastors' grass with English blood.
The King of Heaven forbid that our Lord the King shall with civil and uncivil arms be rushed upon. Thy thrice noble cousin, Harry Bolingbroke, doth humbly kiss thy hand, and by the honorable tomb he swears, which stands upon your royal grandsire's bones, and by the royalties of both your bloods, current streaming from one most gracious head, and by the buried hand of warlike Gaunt, and by the worth and honor of himself, his coming hither hath no further scope to the beg enfranchisement immediate on his knees. This swears he, as he is a prince and I am a gentleman, I credit him.
Northumberland, say thus the king returns. His noble cousin is right welcome hither, and all the number of his demands shall be met without contradiction. With all the gracious utterance thou hast, speak to his gentle hearing. Kind commands. We do debase ourselves, cousin, do we not? Look so poor and to speak so fair. Shall we call Northumberland back and send defiance to the traitor and so die?
No. Good my lord, let's fight with gentle words till time lend friends and friends their helpful swords.
God, that ere this tongue of mine which laid the sentence of banishment on yon proud man should take it off again with words of soothe. Oh, that I were as great as is my grief, or lesser than my name, or that I could forget what I have been, and not remember what I must be now.
Northumberland comes back from Bolingbroke.
What must the king do now? Must he submit? The king shall do it. Must he be deposed? The king shall be contented. Must he lose the name of king? God's name. Let it go. I'll give my jewels for a set of beads, my gorgeous palace for a hermitage, my gay apparel for an almsman's gown, figured goblets for a dish of wood, my scepter for a poor man's walking staff, my subjects for a pair of carved saints, and my large kingdom for a little grave. A little grave. An obscure grave. Or I'll be buried in the king's highway, some common way of trade where subjects' feet hourly trample on their sovereign's head. From my heart they trample now whilst I live, and buried once one out upon my head. No more, thou weepest, O tender-hearted cousin. I'll make foul weather with despised tears. They have erected us a pair of graves within the earth. And therein laid, there lies two kinsmen dig their graves with weeping eyes. Would not this ill do well? Well, I do talk but idly, and you laugh at me. Northumberland, what says King Bolingbroke? Will his majesty give Richard leave to live till Richard die? You make a leg, and Bolingbroke says I.
My lord, in the base court he doth attend to speak with you. May it please you to come down.
Down. Down I come, the glistering phaeton, in the base court. Base court where kings grow base to come a traitor's cause and do them grace. In the base court. Come down. Down court. Down king. Where night owls shriek, where mounting lark should sing.
Stand all apart, and show fair duty to his majesty. My gracious lord.
Fair cousin, you debase your princely knee to make the base earth proud with kissing it. Me rather had my heart had felt your love, than my unpleased eye see your courtesy. Up, cousin, up. Your heart is up, I know. Thus, high at least, though thy knee be low.
My gracious lord, I come but for mine own.
Your own is yours, and I am yours and all.
So far be mine, my most redoubted lord, as my true service shall deserve your love.
Well, you deserve. They will deserve to have than are the strongest and surest way to get. Uncle, give me your hand. Nay, dry your eyes. Tears show their love, but want their remedies. Cousin, I am too young to be your father, though you are old enough to be my heir. What you will have, I'll give, and willingly too. But do we must what force will have us do. Set on towards London. Cousin, is it so?
Yea, my good lord.
Then I must not say no.
What sport shall we devise here in this garden to drive away the heavy thought of care?
Madam, we'll play at bowls.
Oh, 'twill make me think the world is full of rubs, and that my fortune rubs against the bias.
Madam will dance?
Oh, my legs can keep no measure in delight, when my poor heart no measure keeps in grief. Therefore no dancing, girl, come some other sport.
Madam, we'll tell tales.
Of sorrow or of joy?
Of either, madam.
Of neither, girl. For if of joy being altogether wanting, it doth remember me the more of sorrow, or if of grief being altogether had, it adds more sorrow to my want of joy. For what I have I need not repeat, and what I want, it boots me not to complain.
Madam, I'll sing. Hello, Gloria.
'Tis well that thou hast cause. Thou shouldst please me better, wouldst thou weep.
I could weep, madam. Would it do you any good?
And I could sing, would weeping do me good, and never borrow any tear of thee. But stay,
Here come the gardeners. Step into the shadow of these trees.
my wretchedness into a row of pins, they'll talk of state, for everyone does so against a change. Woe is forerun with woe.
Go, find thou up yon dangling apricots, which like unruly children make their sire stoop with their prodigal weight. Give some supportance to the bending twigs. Go thou, and like an executioner, cut off the heads of the two fast-grown sprays that look too lofty in our commonwealth. All must be even in our government. You thus employed, I'll go root away the noisome weeds which without profit suck the soil's fertility from wholesome flowers.
Why should we, in the compass of a pair, keep law and form and due proportion showing, as in a model or firm estate, when our seawalled garden, the whole land, is full of weeds? Her fruit trees all upturned, her hedges ruined, her nuts disordered, and her wholesome herbs swarming with caterpillars.
Hold thy peace! He that hath suffered this disordered spring hath now himself met with a fall of leaf. The weeds, which his broad spreading leaves did shelter, that seemed in eating him to hold him up, are plucked up, root and all, by Bolingbroke. I mean, the Earl of Wiltshire. Bushy, green.
What? Are they dead?
They are. And Bolingbroke hath seized the wasteful king. Oh, what pity is it that he had not so trimmed and dressed his land as we, this garden. We, at time of year, do wound the bark, the skin of our fruit trees, lest being overproud in sap and blood, with too much riches it confound itself. Had he done so to great and growing men, they would have lived to bear, and he to taste their fruits of duty. Superfluous boughs we lop away, that bearing boughs may live. Had he done so, himself had worn the crown, which the waste of idle hours hath quite thrown down.
What? Think you then the king shall be deposed?
Depressed he is already? Deposed 'tis doubt he will be. Letters came last night from a good friend of the Duke of York's to tell black tidings.
Oh, I am pressed to death through want of speaking. Thou, old Adam's likeness, set to dress this garden. How dares thy harsh, rude tongue sound this unpleasing news? What Eve, what serpent has suggested thee to make a second fall of cursed man? Why dost thou say King Richard is deposed? Darest thou little better thing than earth, divine his downfall? Say where, when, and how camest thou by these ill tidings? Speak, thou wretch!
Pardon me, madam. Little joy have I to breathe this news. Yet what I say is true. King Richard is in the mighty hold at Bolingbroke. Their balances are weighed, and in your lord's favor there's nothing but himself and some few vanities which make him light. But in the balance of great Bolingbroke, besides himself, are all the English peers, and with that odds he weighs King Richard down. Post you to London, you will find it so. I speak no more than everyone doth know.
Nimble mischance that are so light of foot. Does not thy embassage belong to me, and am I the last that knows it? Thou thinkest to serve me last, that I may longest keep thy sorrow in my breast. Come, ladies, go to meet at London, London's king in woe. Was I born to this? That my sad look should grace the triumph of great Bolingbroke? Gardener, for telling me these news of woe, pray God the plants thou grafts may never grow.
Poor queen. So that thy state might be no worse, I would that my skill were subject to thy curse. Here did she fall a tear. Here in this place, I'll set a bank of rue, a sour herb of grace. Rue, even for Ruth, here shortly shall be seen, in remembrance of a weeping queen.
Call forth Baggots. Now, Baggots, freely speak thy mind, what thou dost know of noble Gloucester's death. Who wrought it with the king, and who performed the bloody office of his timeless end?
Put before my face the Lord O'Merle.
Cousin, stand forth and look upon that man.
My Lord O'Merle, I know your daring tongue scorns to unsay what once it hath delivered. In that dead time when Gloucester's death was plotted, I heard you say, "Is not my arm of the length that reacheth from the restful English court as far as Calais to mine uncle's head?" Amongst other talk at that time, I heard you say that you would rather refuse an offer of 100,000 crowns than Bolingbroke's return to England, adding withal how blessed this land would be in this your cousin's death.
Princes and noble lords, what answer shall I make to this base man? Shall I so much dishonor my fair stars on equal terms to give him chastisement? Either I must or have mine honor soiled with the attainder of his slanderous lips. There is my gauge, the manual seal of death that marks thee out for hell. I say thou liest, and will maintain what thou hast said is false in thy heart blood, though being all too base to stain the temper of my knightly sword.
Baggots, forbear, thou shalt not take it up.
Excepting one, I wish he were the best in all this presence that moved me so.
That thy valor stand on sympathy, there's my gage, O'Merle, engaged to thine. By that fair sun which shows me where thou standst, I heard thee say, and vauntingly thou spakest that thou wert cause of Gloucester's death. If thou deniest it 20 times, thou liest, and I will turn thy falsehood to thy heart where it was forged from my rapier point.
Thou darest not, coward, live to see that day.
Now by my word, I wish it were this hour.
Fitzwater, thou art damned to hell for this.
O'Merle, thou liest! His honor is as true in this appeal as thou art all unjust. And as thou art so, there I throw my gage, to prove it on thee to the extremest point of mortal breathing. Seize it if thou darest.
Who sets me else? By heaven, I'll throw it all. I have 1,000 spirits and one breath to answer 20,000 such as you.
As I intend to thrive in this new world, O'Merle is guilty of my true appeal. Besides, I heard the banished Norfolk say that thou, O'Merle, didst send 2 of thy men to execute the noble Duke at Calais.
Some honest Christian trust me with a gauge that Norfolk lies. Here do I throw down this, if he may be repealed, to try his honor.
These differences shall all rest under gage till Norfolk be repealed. Repealed he shall be, and, though mine enemy, restored again to all his lands and seigneuries. When he's returned, against O'Merle we will enforce his trial.
That honorable day shall ne'er be seen. For many years hath banished Norfolk fought for Jesu Christ in glorious Christian field, streaming the ensign of the crimson cross against black Turks, pagans, Saracens, till, toiled with works of war, retired him to Italy, and there at Venice gave his body to that pleasant country's earth, and his pure soul unto his captain Christ, under whose banner he hath fought so long.
Why, Bishop, is Norfolk dead?
As surely as I live, my lord.
Sweet peace conduct his sweet soul to the bosom of good old Abraham. Lords, appellant, your differences shall all rest under gage till we assign you to your days of trial.
Great Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from plume-plucked Richard, who with willing soul adopts thee heir, and his high scepter yields to the possession of thy royal hand. Ascend his throne, descending now from him, and long live Henry, fourth of that name.
In God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne.
Marry, God forbid! Worst be I to speak in this noble presence, but best beseeming me to speak the truth. Would God that any in this royal presence were noble enough to be upright judge of noble Richard, then true noblesse would learn him forbearance from so foul a deed. What subject can give sentence to a king? And who stands here that is not Richard's subject? Thieves are not judged, but they abide to hear, though apparent guilt be seen in them. And shall the representative of Christ, his captain, steward, deputy elect, anointed, crowned, planted these many years, be judged by subject and inferior breath? Oh, forfend it, God! That in a Christian climate, souls should show so heinous, black, obscene a deed. I speak to subjects, and a subject speaks, stirred up by God thus nobly for his king. My Lord of Hereford here, whom you call king, is a foul traitor to proud Hereford's king. And if you crown him, let me prophesy, the blood of English shall manure the ground, and future ages groan for this foul act. Peace shall go to sleep with Turks and Saracens, and in this seat of peace, tumultuous wars shall kin with kin, and kind with kind confound. Disorder, horror, fear, mutiny will here abide, and this place shall be called the field of Golgotha and dead men's skulls. If you raise this house against this house, it will the woefulest division prove that ever fell upon this cursed earth. Prevent it. Resist it. Let it be not so, lest child's children cry against you woe.
Well have you argued, sir. And for your pains of capital treason, we arrest you here. My Lord of Westminster bids your charge to keep him safely until his day of trial. My lords, will it please you to grant the common suit?
Fetch hither Richard, that in common view he may surrender, so we shall avoid suspicion.
I will be his conduct.
Lords, you that here are under our arrest, procure your sureties for your days of answer. Little are we beholding to your love, and little looked for at your helping hands.
Alack, why am I sent for to a king before I have shook off the regal thoughts wherewith I reigned? I hardly yet have learned to insinuate, flatter, bow, bend my limbs. Give sorrow leave a while to tutor me to this submission. Yet, well I remember the favors of these men. Were they not sometime mine? Do they not cry, all hail to me? So Judas did to Christ, but he in 12 found truth in all but one. I in 12,000, none. God save the King. Will no man say amen? Am I both priest and clerk? Well then, amen. God save the King, though I be not he. And yet, amen, if heaven do think him me. To do what service am I sent for?
To do that office of thine own good will which tired majesty did make thee offer. the resignation of thy state and crown to Henry of Bolingbroke.
Give me the crown. Here, cousin, seize the crown. Here, cousin, on this side my hand and on that side yours. Now is our golden crown like a deep well, owing two buckets filling one another, the emptier ever dancing in the air, the other down, unseen and full of water. A bucket down and full of tears am I, drowning my griefs whilst you mount up on high.
I thought you had been contented to resign.
My crown I am, still my griefs are mine. You may my glories and my state depose, but not my griefs. Still am I king of those.
Part of your cares you give me with your crown.
Your cares set up do not pluck my cares down. My care is loss of care by old care done. Your care is gain of care by new care won. The cares I have I give, though given away. They tend the crown, yet still with me they stay.
Are you contented to resign the crown?
Aye. No. No. Aye. For I must nothing be, therefore no. No. For I resign to thee. Now mark me how I will undo myself. I give this heavy weight from off my head, and this unwieldy scepter from my hand. The pride of kingly sway from out my heart. Mine own tears I wash away my balm. With mine own hand I give away my crown. All pomp and majesty I forswear. My manors, rents, and revenues I forego. My acts, decrees, and statutes I deny. God, pardon all oaths that are broke to me. God, pardon all vows unbroke that swear to thee. Make me, that nothing have with nothing grieved, and thou with all pleased, thou hast all achieved. Long mayest thou live in Richard's seat to sit, and soon lie Richard in an earthly pit. God save King Harry, on King Richard says, and send him many years of sunshine days. What more remains?
No more, but that you read over these accusations and grievous crimes committed by your persons and your followers against the state and profit of this land. By confessing them, the souls of men may deem you worthily deposed.
Must I do so? And must I ravel out my weaved up folly? Gentle Northumberland, if thy offences were upon record, would it not shame thee in so fair a troop to read a lecture of them? If thou shouldst, there wouldst thou find one heinous article containing the deposing of a king, cracking the strong warrant of an oath, marked with a blot damned in the book of heaven. Nay, all of you that stand and look upon, whilst my wretchedness doth bate myself, though some of you with Pilate wash your hands, showing an outward pity, yet you Pilates have here delivered me to my sour cross. And water cannot wash away your sin.
My lord, dispatch. Read over these articles.
Mine eyes are full of tears, they cannot read. And yet, salt water blinds them not so much, but they can see a sort of traitors here. Nay, if I set mine eyes upon myself, I find myself a traitor with the rest. For I have given here my soul's consent to undeck the pompous body of a king, made glory base and sovereignty a slave, proud majesty a subject, state a peasant.
My lord.
No lord of thine, thou hot insulting man. No man's lord. I have no name, no title. No, not that name that was given me at the font, but 'tis usurped. Alack, the heavy day that I have worn so many winters out, I know not now what name to call myself. Oh, that I were a mockery king of snow, standing before the son of Bolingbroke, that I might wash myself away with water drops. A good king, great king, and yet not greatly good. And if my word have a sterling yet in England, that a commander may hither straight, but I might show me what a face I have.
Go.
This is bankrupt of his majesty.
Go, some of you. Fetch a looking glass.
Read over these articles by the class.
Fiend, thou tormentest me ere I come to hell.
Urge it no more, my lord Northumberland.
My lord, the commons will not be satisfied.
They shall be satisfied. I'll read enough when I do see the very book indeed where all my sins are writ. And that's myself. Give me the glass, and therein will I read. No deeper wrinkles yet. But sorrow struck so many blows upon this face and made no deeper wounds. Flattering glass, like to my followers in prosperity, thou dost beguile me. Was this the face that every day under his household roof to keep 10,000 men? Was this the face that, like the sun, to make beholders wink? Was this the face that faced so many follies, and was last outfaced by Bolingbroke? The brittle glory shineth in the face. As brittle as the glory is the face. For there it is, cracked in 100 shivers. Mark, silent king, the moral of this sport. How soon my sorrow hath destroyed my face.
The shadow of your sorrow hath destroyed the shadow of your face.
Say that again. The shadow of my sorrow. Let's see. 'Tis very true. My griefs lie all within, and these external manners of laments are merely shadows to the unseen grief that swells in silence in the tortured soul. There lies the substance. And I thank thee, King, for thy great bounty, which not only gives me cause to wail, but teaches me how to lament the cause. I'll beg one boon and then be gone and trouble you no further. Shall I obtain it?
Name it, fair cousin.
Fair cousin, I am greater than a king. For when I was king, my flatterers were then but subjects. Being now a subject, I have a king here to a flatterer. Being so great, I have no need to beg.
Yet ask.
And shall I have?
You shall.
Then give me leave to go.
Whither?
Whither you will, so I were from your sights.
Go, some of you. Convey him to the tower.
Oh, good. Convey. Conveyors are you all. They rise thus nimbly at a true king's fall.
On Wednesday next, we solemnly set down our coronation. Lords, prepare yourselves.
A woeful pageant we here have it beheld.
The woes to come, and children yet unborn shall feel this day as sharp to them as thorn.
You holy clergymen! Is there no plots to rid the realm of this pernicious blot?
My lord, before I freely speak my mind herein, you shall not only take the sacrament to bury my intents, but also to effect whatever I shall happen to devise. I see your brows are full of discontent, your hearts of sorrow, your eyes of tears. Come home with me to supper. I'll lay a plot, shall show us all a merry day.
This way the king will come. This is the way to Julius Caesar's ill-erected tower, to whose flint bosom my condemned lord is doomed a prisoner by proud Bolingbroke. Here let us rest, if this rebellious earth have any resting for her true king's queen. Soft, but see. Rather do not see my fair rose wither. Yet look up. behold, that you in pity may dissolve to dew and wash him fresh again with true love tears. Oh, thou the model where old Troy did stand, a map of honor, of King Richard's tomb and not King Richard, most beauteous inn. Why should hard-favored grief be lodged in thee when triumph is become an alehouse guest?
Joy not with grief, fair woman. Do not so to make my end too sudden. Learn, good soul, to think our former state a happy dream, in which awake the truth of what we are tells us but this. I am sworn brothers, sweet to grim necessity, and he and I will keep a league till death. Hie thee to France, and cloister thee in some religious house. Our holy lives must learn to win a new world's crown, which our profane hours here have stricken down.
What? Is my Richard both in shape and mind transformed and weakened? Hath Bolingbroke deposed thine intellect? Hath he been in thy heart? The lion, dying, thrusteth forth his paw and wounds the earth with rage, if nothing else to be o'erpowered. Wilt thou, pupil-like, take thy correction, mildly kiss the rod, and fawn on rage with base humility, which art a lion and the king of beasts?
King of beasts indeed. If aught but beasts, I had been still a happy king of men. Good sometime queen, prepare thee hence for France. Think that I am dead, but even here thou takest as from my deathbed thy last living leave. In winter's tedious nights, sit by the fire with good old folks, and let them tell thee tales of woeful ages long ago betide. And ere thou bid good night to quit their griefs, tell thou the lamentable tale of me. Send the hearers weeping to their beds, for why the senseless brands will sympathize, the heavy accent of thy moving tongue, and in compassion weep the fire out. And some will mourn in ashes, and some call black, for the deposing of her rightful king.
My lord, the mind of Bolingbroke has changed. You must unto Pomfret, not into the tower. And madam, order has been given for you. With swift speed you must away to France.
Northumberland, the ladder wherewithal the mounting Bolingbroke ascends my throne. The time shall not be many hours of age, ere his foul sin-gathering head shall break into corruption. And thou shalt think, though he divide the realm and give thee half, it is too little, helping him to all. And he shall think that thou, which knowest the way to plant on rightful kings, wilt know again, being ne'er so little urged another way, to pluck him headlong from the usurped throne. The love of wicked men converts to fear, that fear to hate, and hate to one or both, to worthy danger and deserved death.
My guilt be on my head, and there an end. Now take leave and part, for you must part forthwith.
Doubly divorced. Bad man, you violate a twofold marriage. Twixt my crown and me. Twixt me and my married wife. The unkissed this house twixt thee and me. And yet not so. For the kiss was made. Part us, Northumberland. I towards the north with shivering cold and sickness pines to climb. My wife towards France. From whence north hither she came in sweet May, sent back like Hallowmas or shortest of day.
Must we be divided? Must we part?
Aye, hand from hand, my love, and heart from heart.
Banish us both, and send the king with me.
That were for some love, but little policy.
And whither he goes, thither let me go.
So two, together weeping, make one woe. Weep thou for me in France, I for thee here. Better far off than near, being near than near. Go, count thy way with sighs, I mine with groans.
So longest way shall have the longest moans.
Twice, for one step I'll groan, the way being short, and piece the way out with a heavy shart. Come, come, a moving sorrow, let's be brief. Since wedding it, there's such length and grief. One kiss shall stop our mouths and dumbly part. Thus give I mine. Thus take I thy heart.
Give me mine own again. 'twere no good part to take on me to keep and kill thy heart. So now I have mine own again begone, that I might strive to kill it with a groan.
We make woe wanton with this bond delayed. Once more do, the rest let sorrow say.
My lord, you told me you would tell me the rest when weeping made you break the story off of our two cousins coming into London.
Where did I leave?
At that sad stop, my lord, where rude misgoverned hands from windows top threw dust and rubbish on King Richard's head.
Then, as I said, the Duke, great Bolingbroke, mounted on a hot and fiery steed, which his aspiring riders seemed to know, with slow but stately pace kept on his course, whilst all tongues cried out, God save thee, Bolingbroke! You would have thought the very windows spake, so many greedy looks from young and old through casements darted their desiring eyes upon his visage, and that all the walls and painted imagery had said at once, Jesu preserve thee, welcome Bolingbroke! Whilst he, bareheaded, lower than his proud steed's neck, bespake them thus, I thank you, countrymen, and thus still doing, thus he passed along.
Alack, poor Richard, where rode he the whilst?
As in a theater, the eyes of men when a well-graced actor leaves the stage are idly bent on him who enters next, thinking his prattle to be tedious. Even so, or with much more contempt, men's eyes did scowl on Richard. No man cried, God save him. No tongue gave him his joyful welcome home. But dust was thrown upon his sacred head, with which such gentle sorrow he shook off, his face combating between tears and smiles the badges of his grief and patience, that had not God, for some strong purpose, steeled the hearts of men, they must perforce have melted, and barbarism itself have pitied him. But heaven hath a hand in these events, to whose high will we bound our calm contents. To Bolingbroke are we sworn subjects now, whose state and honor eye for eye allow.
Ah, here comes my son O'Merle.
O'Merle that was, but that is lost for being Richard's friend, and madam, you must call him Rutland now. I am in Parliament pledged to his truth and lasting fealty to the new-made king.
Welcome, my son. Who are the violets now that strew the green lap of the new-come spring?
Madam, I know not, nor I greatly care not. God knows I as lief be none as one.
Oh, fare you well in this new spring of time, lest you be cropped before you come to prime. What news of Oxford? Hold those jousts and triumphs?
For aught I know, my lord, they do.
Well, you will be there, I know.
If God prevent not, I purpose so.
What is that seal thou wearest outside thy bosom? Yea, looks how pale. Let me see the writing.
My lord, 'tis nothing.
No matter then who sees it. I will be satisfied. Let me see the writing.
I do beseech your grace to pardon me. It is a matter of small consequence, which for some reasons I would not have seen.
Which for some reasons I mean to see. I fear.
What is there to fear? 'Tis merely a bond he entered into for gay apparel against the triumph day.
A bond against himself. What doth he with a bond that he is bound to? Wife, thou art a fool. Boy, let me see the writing.
I do beseech you pardon me, I may not show it.
I will be satisfied. Let me see it, I say. Treason. Foul treason. Villain. Traitor. slave.
What's the matter, my lord?
What ho! Who's within? Saddle my horse! God for his mercy, what treachery is here?
Why, what is it, my lord?
Oh. Now. Saddle my horse! Bring me my boots, I say! By my honor, by my life, by my troth, I will impeach the villain.
What is the matter?
Peace, foolish woman!
I will not peace. What is the matter, O Merle?
Good mother, be content. It is no more than my poor life must answer.
Thy life's answer?
Bring me my boots, I say! I will unto the king.
Oh, strike him, O Merle! Poor boy, thou art amazed. Hence, villain, and never come before my eyes!
Give me my boots!
What wilt thou do, York? Wilt thou not hide the trespass of thine own? Have we more sons, are we like to have? Hath not my teeming date drunk up with time? Wilt thou pluck my fair son from my old age? Wilt thou rob me of the happy mother's name? Is he not like thee? Is he not thine own?
Thou mad, foolish woman! Whilst thou conceal this dark conspiracy, a dozen of them have taken the sacrament and interchangeably set down their hands to kill the king at Oxford.
He will have none. We will keep him here. Then what is that to them?
Away, fond woman. Were he 20 times my son, I would impeach him.
Had thou groaned for him as I had done, that would be more pitiful. But now I know thy mind. Thou suspect I have been disloyal to thy bed, that he's a bastard and not thy son. Oh, sweet York, be not of that mind. He's like thee much as any man. Not like me, nor any of my kin, yet I do love him.
Make way, unruly woman.
After, O Merle, mount you upon his steed, spur post, get before him to the king, and beg thy pardon ere he accuses thee. I will not be long behind. Though I be old, I doubt but ride as fast as York, and I will not rise up from the ground till Bolingbroke grant thy pardon. Away! Be gone!
Can no man tell me of my unthrifty son? 'Tis full 3 months since I did see him last. If any plague hangs over us, 'tis he. I would to God, my lord, he might be found. Inquire at London, mongst the taverns there. For there, they say, he daily doth frequent, with unrestrained loose companions, even such, they say, as stand in narrow lanes, and beat our watch, and rob our passengers, which he, young wanton and effeminate boy, takes on the point of honor to support so dissolute a crew.
Some 2 days since I saw the prince, and told him of those crimes at Oxford.
What said the gallant?
Well, his answer was he would unto the stews, and from the commonest creature pluck a glove and wear it as a favor. And with that he would unhorse the lustiest challenger.
As dissolute as desperate. Yet through both I see some sparks of better hope, which elder years may happily bring forth. But who comes here?
Where's the king?
What means our cousin that he stares and looks so wildly?
God save your grace. I do beseech your majesty to have some conference with your grace. Alone.
Withdraw yourself and leave us here alone. What is the matter with our cousin now?
Forever may my knees go to the earth. My tongue cleave to my ruth within my mouth, unless a pardon ere I rise or speak.
Intended or committed was this fault? If on the first, how heinous ere it be, to win thy afterlove, I pardon thee.
Then give me leave that I may turn the key, that no man may enter till my tale be done.
Have thy desire.
My liege, beware! Look to thyself! Thou hast a traitor in thy presence there!
Villain, I'll make thee safe.
Stay thy revengeful hand, thou hast no cause to fear.
Open the door! Secure, foolhardy king! Shall I, for love, speak treason to thy face? Open the door, or I will break it open.
What is the matter, uncle? Speak. Recover breath. Tell us how near is danger, that we may arm us to encounter it.
Peruse this letter here, and thou shalt know the treason that my haste forbids me show.
Remember as thou readst thy promise past. I do repent me. Read not my name there, my heart was not confederate with my hand.
It was, villain, ere thy hand did set it down. I tore it from the traitor's bosom, king. Fear, not love, begets his penitence. Forget to pity him, lest thy pity prove a serpent that shall sting thee to the heart.
O heinous, strong, and bold conspiracy! O loyal father of a treacherous son! Thou sheer immaculate and silver fountain, from which this spring, through muddy passages, hath held his current and defiled himself. Thy overflow of good converts to bad, and thy abundant goodness shall excuse this deadly blot in thy digressing son.
So shall my virtue play his vices bawd, and he shall spend my honor with his shame as thriftless sons their scraping father's gold. My honor lives when his dishonor dies.
What ho, my liege! For God's sake, let me in!
What shrill-voiced suppliant makes this eager cry?
'Tis a woman in thy aunt, great king, 'tis I! Speak to me, pity me, open the door! A beggar begs that never begged before!
Our scene is altered from a serious thing and now changed to the beggar and the king. My dangerous cousin, let your mother in. I know she is come to pray for your foul sin.
If thou doest pity whosoever pray, more sins for this forgiveness prosper may. This festered joint cut off, the rest sound. This let alone, the rest confound.
O king, believe not this hard-hearted man. Loving not itself, none other can.
Thou frantic woman, what makest thou here? Shall thy dugs another traitor rear?
Sweet York, be patient. Oh, hear me, gentle liege.
Rise up, good aunts.
Not yet, I beseech thee. Forever will I walk upon my knees, and not see the day the happy sees, till thou givest joy, till thou bid me joy. And pardon, Rutland, my transgressing boy.
On my mother's prayers I bend my knee.
Against them both my true joints bended be. Ill mayest thou thrive if thou grant any grace.
Please he in earnest, look upon his face. His eye doth not drop a tear. His prayers are in jest. His words come from his mouth, ours from our breast. He prays faintly and will be denied. We pray with heart and soul and all besides. His weary joints will gladly rise, I know. Our knees will kneel till the ground they grow. His prayers are full of false hypocrisy, ours of zeal and deep integrity. Our prayers outpray his, then let them have the mercy true prayers ought to have.
Good aunt, stand up.
No, nay, do not say stand up. Say pardon first, stand up afterwards. And if I were thy nurse, thy tongue to teach, pardon would be the first word of thy speech. I never before longed to hear a word till now. Say pardon, king, let pity teach thee how. The word is short, but not so short as sweet. No word like pardon for king's mouth, so meet.
Speak it in French, king. Say, pardon-moi.
Does that teach pardon? Pardon to destroy? Oh, sour husband, oh, hard-hearted lord, you set the word itself against the word. Say it as 'tis common to our land. The chopping French we do not understand. Thine eye begins to speak. Set thou tongue there, or in thy piteous heart plant thou thine ear, and hearing our plaints and prayers do pierce, pity may move thee pardon to rehearse.
Good aunt, stand up.
I do not sue to stand. Pardon is all the suit I have in hand.
I pardon him, as God shall pardon me.
Oh, happy vantage of a kneeling knee! I am sick for fear. Speak it again. Pardon twice said does not pardon twain, but makes one pardon strong.
With all my heart, I pardon him.
A God on earth thou art.
But for our trusty brother-in-law and the abbot, with all the rest of that consorted crew, destruction straight shall dog them at the heels. Good uncle, help to order several powers to Oxford, or where'er these traitors are. They shall not live within this world, I swear, but I will have them if I once know where. Uncle, farewell. Cousin, too, adieu. Your mother well hath prayed, and prove you true.
Come, my old son, I pray God make thee new.
Didst thou not mark the king, what words he spake? Have I no friend that will rid me of this living fear? Was it not so?
These were his very words.
Have I no friend, quoth he? He spake it twice and urged it twice together, did he not?
He did.
And speaking it, he wistfully looked on me, as who should say, I would thou wert the man that would divorce this terror from my heart, meaning the king at the Pomfret. Come, let us go. I am the king's friend, and will rid his foe.
I have been studying how I may compare this prison that I live unto the world. And for the world is populous, and here is not a creature but myself. I cannot do it. Yet, I'll hammer it out. My brain will prove the female to my soul, and my soul the father, and these two beget a generation of still breeding thoughts. And these same thoughts people this little world, and humors like the people of this world. For no thought is contented. Thoughts tending to ambition do plot unlikely wonders. For these vain, weak nails, they have passage to the flinty ribs of this hard world with ragged prison walls. For they cannot die in their own pride. Thoughts tending to content flatter themselves. For they are not the first of fortune's slaves, nor shall not be the last. Like silly beggars who, sitting in their stocks, refuge their shame, that many have and others must sit there. But in this thought they find a kind of ease, bearing their own misfortunes on the back of such as had before endured the like. Thus lay I in one person many people, and none contented. Sometimes am I king, then treasons make me wish myself a beggar, and so am I. Then crushing penury persuades me I was better when a king. Then kinged am I, and by think that I am unkinged by Bolingbroke, and straight am nothing. Whate'er I be, nor I nor any man that but man is, shall with nothing be pleased, till he be eased with being nothing. Music? Do I hear? Keep time! How sour sweet music is when time is broken, no proportion kept. So it is in the music of men's lives. For here have I the daintiness of ear to check time broke with a disordered string. For the concord of my state and time, and there not an ear to hear my true time broke? I wasted time, and now doth time waste me. My thoughts are minutes, and with sighs they jar their watches on unto mine eyes. The outward watch to my finger, like a dial's point, it's pointing still and cleansing them from tears. Now, sir, the sound that tells what hour it is are clamorous groans which strike upon my heart, which is the bell. So tears, sighs, and groans tell minutes, times, and hours. But my time runs posting on in Bolingbroke's proud joy, while I stand fooling here. This jack of the clock. This music mads me. Let it sound no more. Though to hold madmen to their wits, in me it seems it will make wise men mad. And yet, blessing on him that gives it me, 'tis a sign of love. Love to Richard is a strange brooch in this all-hating world.
Hail, royal prince.
Thanks, noble peer. The chiefest of us is 10 groats too dear. What art thou, and wherefore comest thou hither, where no man never comes, save that sad dog that brings me food to make misfortune live?
I was a poor groom of thy stable, king, when thou werdst king, who, on travelling to York with much ado at length, was granted leave to look upon my sometimes royal master's face. Oh, it yearned my heart when I beheld in London streets on Coronation Day, when Bolingbroke rode to Rome Barbary, the horse that thou so often hast bestrid, the horse that I so carefully dressed.
Rode he on Barbary? Tell me, gentle friend, how went he under him?
Oh, so proudly, as if he disdained the ground.
So proud that Bolingbroke was on his back. The jade hath he bred from my royal hand. This hand hath made him proud with clapping him. Would he not stumble? Would he not fall down, since pride must have a fall? Break the neck of that proud man which did usurp his back. Forgiveness, horse, what do I rail on thee, since thou, created to be all by man, was born to bear? I was not made a horse, and yet I bear a burthen like an ass, spurred, galled, and tired by jouncing Bolingbroke.
Fella, give place. Here no longer stay.
If thou love me, 'tis time thou wert away.
But my tongue dares not that, my heart will say. My lord, will please thou to fall too.
Taste of it first, as thou art wont to do.
Oh, my lord, I dare not. Sir Pierce of Exton comes lately from the king, commands the contrary.
Devil take Henry of Lancaster and thee. I'm weary of it. Oh, now, death is true to soul. Villain, thy own hand yields thy death's instrument. Go thou and fill another room in hell. That hand shall burn a never-quenching fire that staggers thus my person. Exton, thy fierce hand hath the king's blood stained the king's own land. Mount, thy soul, thy seat is up on high. My gross flesh sinks downward, here to die.
Full of valor, as of royal blood, both have I spilled all, where this deed were good. And then the devil that told me I did well says that this deed is chronicled in hell. This dead king to the living king I'll bear. Take hence the rest and give them burial there.
Take.
Kind Uncle York, the latest news we hear is that the rebels have consumed with fire our town of Ciceter in Gloucestershire. But Whether they be ta'en or slain, we hear not. Welcome, my lord. What is the news?
First I to the sacred state wish all happiness. The next news I have sent to London the heads of Oxford, Salisbury, Blunt, and Kent. The manner of their taking shall appear discoursed in this paper here.
We thank thee, gentle Percy, for thy pains, and to thy worth will add right worthy gains.
My lord, I have from Oxford sent to London the heads of Brocas and Sir Bennet Seeley, two of the dangers and consorted traitors that sought at Oxford thy dire overthrow.
Thy pains, Fitzwater, shall not be forgot. Right noble is thy merit, well I wot.
The grand conspirator, Abbot of Westminster, with cog of conscience and sour melancholy, hath yielded up his body to the grave. But here is Carlisle, living to abide thy kingly doom and sentence of his pride.
Carlisle, this is your doom. Choose out some secret place, some reverend room, more than thou hast, and with it joy thy life. So as thou livest in peace, die free from strife. For though mine enemy thou hast ever been, high sparks of honor in thee have I seen.
Great King, within this coffin I present thy buried fear. Herein, all breathless, lies the mightiest of your greatest enemies, Richard of Bordeaux, by me hither brought.
Exton, I thank thee not, for thou hast wrought a deed of slander with thy fatal hand upon my head and all this famous land.
But from your own mouth, my lord, did I this deed.
They love not poison, that do poison need, nor do I thee, though I did wish him dead. I hate the murderer, love him murdered. Thy guilt of conscience take thee for thy labor, but neither my good word nor princely favor. With Cain go wander through shades of night, and never show thy head by day, nor light. Lords, I protest, my soul is full of woe that blood should sprinkle me to make me grow. Come, mourn with me, for that I do lament, and put on sullen, black, incontinent. I'll make a voyage to the Holy Land to wash this blood off from my guilty hand. March sadly after, grace my mornings here in weeping after this untimely fear.